Holy shit. Oh man. I can't even properly begin this Prism walkthrough. Hi guys, I'm DeoGenZ. There is a Jersey Devil outside my window right now. It is currently 12:30 at night. 12:30 in the morning. I'm not even at all paranoid, but okay, it's gotta be possums, I'm guessing. This is what I'm guessing. But for the past week, and I've heard these things before, I've been standing out in front of the woods as these things have been shrieking and cackling loud. I don't know what they are. I mean, they terrify the shit out of me. But they are some kind of screaming banshees outside of my window. I don't know what they are, but they're in the trees, and they freak the fuck out of me. Ugh. Anyway. Whew. Oh man, they threw me off anyway. Palette Patroller time. We are finally versing the Pink Ranger. Again, seriously, comment below if you live in Jersey and have heard those things. I want to know what those things are. They have to be some kind of crazy possum or rat fink sort of shit animal that is mean and nasty and snarly. I just can't imagine what, though. You know what? It was funny. I'm not, it's not even worth storytelling. Porygon! Look at that. It's only half pink, and pink still uses it. So, beware guys, any Pokemon that has any slight coloration that is similar to the Palette Patroller's outfit could possibly be on its team. But, thank goodness you're watching this walkthrough first. Now you'll have some insight before you, too, try the game for yourself. And Poison is the best status we can ask for. Ah, but Psybeam's the worst attack that we could have waged on us. Was that even super effective? I'm not even sure. See, unfortunately for me, I cannot hear the sound while I'm doing the preview co-commentary, and it didn't say anything on the text saying it was super effective. Psybeam is psychic, and I didn't think that Gligar being ground/poison would have negated any of Psychic's effects. Or Psybeam's effects with the Psychic type. That's just strange. Interesting. See, that's something that you also have to consider for ROM hacks too. I recently was watching some other LPer's ROM hack just very shortly, briefly, to see if it was a ROM I would do. It looked way too long, personally, for me to undertake at this time. But they changed around some of the types. They changed around some of the types of the movesets, actually. I think Rock Climb in this particular hack, I wish I knew the hack's name, it's slipping my mind. It was something in the sky. I don't remember what, though. But they changed Rock Climb's type to be actually Rock type instead of normal. So that was pretty interesting. I don't know if Prism does any of these type changings, but I guess that's a very easy thing to do. Very easy for even a Pokemon's type to change, if you think about it. You could make Igglybuff a Psychic type if you wanted to, I guess. Just making the argument that, well, it's pink. There you go. It should be Psychic. Yeah, if you're the one who's controlling the ROM hack, you could make it Psychic. And you don't even have to give stupid reasons like that. You could say, well, I just wanted to throw people off and add a new effort of difficulty. And add a new mystery to Pokemon that you thought you already knew. That's something that the Pokemon Company should really do more often, I think. A kind of twisting of abilities, and they gave that a shot. By the way, I just jump cut here. X-ray photos were taken, nothing was seen inside of the Bronzor, though, so it's unknown what's making that thing tick. Is it a goo? Is it a metallic goo, sort of? Snowflake creature? I don't know. But apparently it has no bones. But jump cut to the Pokedex. I'll tell you guys why I'm collecting useless Pokemon later in another episode. Well, they won't be useless when we... Well, I'm not even going to continue because that would give away what the feature is. And wait a second! I just saw a minecart. We have to turn on this so we can see where the staircase is. Or ladder, rather. Not exactly a staircase in the middle of a cave, but yes. There is a minecart system. Well, let's go to... Well, this seems familiar. Yup, this is exactly where we met our good friend Larvitar. Let me just double check to make sure. Yup, I'm pretty certain we've been here. Huh. That's cool. Again, they seem to have a lot to do with cave systems in this game. It's more labyrinthy. Okay, we can go to... No, we cannot go to this. Okay, this is an area that can be only surf accessible. It's pretty interesting because anybody who's maybe considering doing a ROM hack, if you do, message me and I'd be sure to do an LP of it if you send me the download link. Well, can't access this right now either. But if you're trying to put out betas for your ROM, similar to how the developers of Prism did, and you're not quite ready to show out all the areas, what you can do simply is put an environmental hazard there, or an environmental blockade like water barriers, and just not allow for the player to get surf. This way they can't surf over to whatever landmass may be a few blocks away. But since it's on a Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color or even DS ROM hack, whatever you choose to do, they're only going to see a certain length of the screen. Just make it so water blocks out that portion of your town, or even if you want to make a teaser, make a short trickling stream. That will really piss people off. I know every time I see that, something on the other side of water, I get really pissed off and wanting to explore it and almost hack over the game just to give myself surf, but I know it's useless because most likely the developer did that to keep me out because it's not finished. So, respect to the developers, and if you are one, that's how you could easily block off some of your areas you don't want people to yet traverse. I don't feel like going out to reheal yet, because I think that if we just push on forward and use the dynamite that we have collected after defeating all those patrollers, I think we'll quickly find a Pokemon Center. I just want to push forward. Backtracking at this point is so obnoxious. Oh man, with no repels. Alright, you, Chubbo, sending me on your dynamite runs. You better be able to blow this pop stand. Yeah, that... somebody in the comments section actually pointed out that they can't even base this off of Nintendo logic being screwed up. This adult is asking a young kid, you know, just because I have Pokemon, I guess that makes me more capable than others. Even adults, which is interesting, but they're asking a kid to go down where there are shady people in a cave system that's dark to find sticks of dynamite. Okay, now let's just ignore the fact that it's sticks of dynamite and fixate on the fact that there's shady people in the dark that they're sending a little kid to go explore for. That premise right there. And sticks of dynamite, you're just giving them ammo to go fuck with the little... I'm just not even going to continue the statement, it's so horrid. Anyway, yeah. Funny logic, but you can see just from some of the text that we've read in the past rival encounters, this is not exactly a kid-friendly game. Being threatened to be cut up by our rival. Yeah, it's meant to be funny, and it's meant to be out there. So, again, that's one of the great fun things about ROM hacks, and if you're sensitive to that material, then go back to the main series. What can I tell you? I'm sorry. You just cannot enjoy this, but whatever. This, my friends, this was why I was catching Pokemon and showing you just the Pokedex entries. This is the Pokemon Orphanage. People who don't want to keep their Pokemon in a PC, I thought this was great, because this addresses an idea that's been innate with Pokemon ever since Red and Blue first emerged in America. And of course when it emerged in Japan first. I'm not stating it emerged here first, obviously. But Pokemon that just sit in your box and do nothing. You finally have a place to turn them into. You can donate your Pokemon here and get points. And when you get a certain amount of points, depending upon what Pokemon you want to get, you can trade them in and they'll give you prize Pokemon. After we're done talking with this girl here, we'll go down to the turn-ins counter, or turn-in person, and we can check what Pokemon we have for prize options. But I thought this was one of the coolest ideas ever, and I wish that Nintendo, the Pokemon Company overall, would instate this idea. I think they could really tie this in perfectly to Gray. Pokemon Gray, the spin-off of Black and White, or the third iteration. Wow, there's some actual really good Pokemon here, and even a good third gen too. Or not third gen, sorry, fourth gen, Riolu. But they could tie that idea in perfectly with the third iteration of Black and White, Gray. Now N is on his way. He's disbanded Team Plasma because he learned it's all a lie from Gyarados. And now he's off doing some soul searching. But he found his soul in Pokemon orphanages, and he started them all across the Unova region. So now people don't just waste their Pokemon, let them rot away in PC boxes, but instead they get donated to loving homes so they can be turned into trainers that were loving like us and could be understood by their Pokemon perfectly. I think that would be the very sensible thing for Nintendo to do, and a perfect tie-in to add this feature into their games. Because I have so many useless Pokemon in my box. So many. The only reason they have any use is just for transfer items. Transfer items, transfer tokens. I don't even call them Pokemon, I call them tokens. I like to think of them as Karibos. Yeah, Karibos from Yu-Gi-Oh! I think of them as tokens. To trade with myself, just to transfer over Pokemon from different game packs that I have. Whether it's Diamond and Pearl into Black and White, or Emerald into Diamond and Pearl, and then eventually into Black and White. You know, the long process of transferring Pokemon over the years, that's all that it's been for. But if I could have another use as to trade them in for rare Pokemon or valuable Pokemon, or maybe ones that would be like evolution Pokemon that could only be specifically gained through trades, that was something I always wished they would have done earlier, but that was, again, before I could trade through Wi-Fi and trading was so accessible. I had always wished they would have given you a game where you could get every Pokemon by some means. So you didn't have to go to all the events, and I still wish they would do this because they still do events, and quite frankly I like Wi-Fi events, but it would be cool just to have a game that was every single Pokemon, and you could find every single one. And if they added this orphanage idea, you could have trade-ins. So you trade in, say, X amount of Rattatas. You know, they all have different values on them. You're not going to get the same worth for trading in a Rattata that you do a fully evolved Pokemon. That's something to be noted. But you do that a certain amount of times, and then maybe you can get Gengar, instead of having to trade with someone to get Haunter to evolve into Gengar. And then Haunters would just be Haunters, and then Gengars would just be Gengars. That would be something interesting too. It would make Gengar a lot more rare, and it would make Haunter a lot more common, and also it would be playing into, I guess, the story of why Haunter doesn't evolve, because nobody could trade anymore for some reason. The communication has been all blocked up for some reason, but still. I think you could create a much more epic story if for some reason you could get every Pokemon in one game. Because that would be all the legendaries, that would be all regions of all Pokemon. You'd have to put them somewhere. You'd have to have a massive land to explore. You'd have to have an epic story. You'd have to have a grandiose story in order to fit in all the legendary Pokemon. Oh, man, I think it would be quite the epic game. And I think there have been ROM hacks that have done similar things. At least I know there have been ROM hacks that have confirmed had every legendary Pokemon in it, exclusively have had every legendary Pokemon in it, and have been somewhat of a legendary boss battle jaunt. But I'm talking every Pokemon, guys. A full story-linked Pokemon game that's of the Pokemon Company's creations, because really they do make some top-notch games, top-notch quality, even if they do repeat the formula a little too much for my flavor. You know, I still love their programming, and I think they could do a full 600 however many Pokemon there are these days. Oh man, Jim was blocked. Alright, so looks like our adventures of this new town have come to an end. The Pokemon Orphanage is an excellent idea. I love it. But I'll see you next time.